Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever it is you watch this. I love that there are people all over the world that can just like tune into things. Um, I'm in Louisiana and it's about 150% humidity and like 110 degrees here. So I got my little microphone thing on because I got to have my fan on. And the mowers are taking care of the yard today. So hopefully my little thing works. So I've been sitting here this morning. I started actually sitting here just I like to listen to music sometimes because it kind of puts me into a spiritual state. And I turned on again the music that I shared yesterday about Mary. It's on like a post. And I just was feeling so into her, and I just started crying again, just listening to the words of Mary, undoer of my not so kind, unravel what the world has left behind. With every prayer, I place my trust in you. O Mother, make the path of grace shine through. Each knot of anger, every thread of pride, you loosen gently, drawing tears I hide. Your mercy flows like rivers through my soul, restoring peace and making broken whole. And I love those words. And as I sat here just listening and feeling into her, I just recognized how there's such a difference between a masculine and a feminine tenderness and gentleness. It's like when we go to our fathers, they have a tenderness that is different than our mothers. And I love as I'm exploring and coming to feel and understand Mary that there's such a tenderness to her. And I know that Christ embodies all of it. He embodies the masculine and the feminine, and he can give us that tenderness. Feeling into her this morning, it was almost as though like it reached a depth that I've never experienced before, and it brought up from my heart. It's like it's opening even more within my heart of things that I still am holding on to, that causes me to have triggers and to be reactive in responses and stuff, and that's like not loving, in conflict. And I'm really, really appreciating, and I'm so grateful. I say that so much because I'm just so filled with gratitude all the time. I live in gratitude, and I think, and that is a gift of the Spirit, is just having that thankful heart and everything. So I opened up to Ephesians today, and I've just been reading in Ephesians and soaking in. I'm like around chapter. I've been reading some in like chapter 2, 3, 4, 5. I highlight a lot of stuff in my scriptures, and so whenever I open up, I just kind of, I'm drawn to those that I've already highlighted, and then I continue to read and see other things, and I just love the way that the Spirit, as we read, it's so amazing how the Spirit is between the words, if you know what I mean. As we read our scriptures, that's where the revelation comes in. It's that empty space between the words that he comes in and he flows, and he opens our mind to really understand what we're reading for our own personal life. That's why it is personal revelation. It's not for everybody all the time. A lot of times it's just for us. So I've been just sitting here reading and contemplating, and I came upon a verse. It's in Ephesians chapter 5, and it says, "For ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth." And that verse hit me because this morning, as I was sitting here, just in my thoughts and stuff, I looked up to a plant that I have on my balcony, on my patio, and it made me have thoughts about light and about Christ. And I shared a post on the post place that you can share on YouTube. I shared a picture and like a little thing that I shared about just the way that this plant, it's almost as though it's defying gravity because it's pointing upwards. Go look at my picture. You can go look at the picture in the post. And I shared this on Facebook as well. But like the plant itself is just so amazing because it's growing upwards. Like its stems are trying to go towards the light. And so, they're bending upwards to the light because the light is coming in this direction. And so it's just so amazing to me the way that plants show us, like they grow facing that light. I shared on my post about how the previous apartment that I lived in, I lived on a balcony that did not get sunlight. I always had shade. And so I had all my plants and they were not thriving. Like some of them even died because they needed more light. And so during those 2.5, 3 years that I lived there, they just did not grow very well. And since I've moved here and I'm receiving light on my patio, they're just thriving and they're all just trying to face that light. And so whenever I read this, after having those thoughts, and then I read this, "For ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." I just love that. I love how it all connects, because they were in darkness for such a long time, for a few years, and I think about that in my own life, how, and all of us, we can all relate to that. I know we go through times of darkness. We just do. We're human beings in this mortal experience, and we have that we are natural men. Paul talks about it, so much, and just the way that our flesh is weak. And I don't know where my mind was going with that. It took off. But being children of light, we can find ourselves, because our flesh is weak, we can find ourselves in that sinful nature and getting caught in habits that are not good for us physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And we can find ourselves in seasons of darkness. And, a lot of times, I know for myself, I've shared videos in the past about this, like that I experienced sexual abuse as a child, and what that does to a child and to a person's soul is it creates this deep shame and this feeling of guilt and never good enough, no matter what we do. Like, I could strive to be the most perfect person in the world, but there is always that sense of shame and that sense of guilt. And so that when you have that spirit attached to you of shame and constant condemnation, it's like there's this cloud that just travels with you throughout life, and it's a depression. It creates a depression upon our spirits, and being able to talk about these things, being able to voice the deep, dark traumas that have happened to us in our lives, and being able to just open up and share, it freed me. It, like, when we can share these dark things that have happened to us, or maybe that we have even done to other people, you know because we're all human beings in this mortal experience, and we all experience many similar things, and they affect us in very similar ways, and they can put us into a state where we're in darkness. Even if, it makes me think about my balcony. It's like my plants, they didn't have that full sun. They were in the shade, but that sun was still, they were still reaching and trying so hard. And that was me in my life. I mean, I would try so hard to just be as good as I could be, and go through all the performances and just do. I would serve in my church. I would just constantly people pleasing and just trying to make people happy around me. And, but I was blocked. I was blocked from that full light because I had that darkness that I had that shame and that guilt that I wasn't able to voice and speak and let move out of me. And so many of us are holding on to these things within us that's keeping us from being fully able to receive his full light and the fullness of his grace and his mercy and his compassion, and just that living water that can flow through us and just purify us and heal us. Like, he is the balm of Gilead. He is the healer of our souls. And whenever we turn to him, when we face him and we surrender to him, he heals us. And it doesn't always happen overnight. I mean, there's many stories in the scriptures where people, went to Jesus and they were healed. They were immediately healed. He placed his hands upon them, and they were healed from their infirmities. But that doesn't always happen with us. Sometimes it takes time. It takes our faith. It takes our prayers. It takes our surrender to him and to his will and to whatever he is doing in our lives. He has brought me to people that I have had seasons of time that I have learned from, that has taught me things about myself, about my behaviors, about my patterns. Like, I've learned about just so much psychology to understand about myself and the things that I hold on to and don't even know it. And he has just brought so much knowledge into me that has healed me. And I know that it is him that has brought me to these people to teach me. And some of them I'm no longer even like following and receiving from anymore, because I've received as much as I could from them, and I don't need any more from them. They've taught me what I've needed to learn from them. And I love that as we walk with Christ and we surrender ourselves to him, to his light that he helps us to grow, that he changes us. For ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. And the beautiful thing about it is that as we surrender ourselves to him, as we allow him to heal us in the ways that we need healing, that we become children of light. That is so amazing to me, that we can become that child of light. We can walk with his image in our countenance. It made me go to, I looked in the bottom. I love cross-referencing in the scriptures. So in my scriptures in the bottom, it has children of light, and it brought me to Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And it says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. You know, as we turn to him, like he transforms us. He transforms our minds. Like truly, I have suffered, I have struggled with, I have been challenged with so much anxiety and depression and fear and just so much of that stuff within me. And as we turn ourselves, as we surrender ourselves to him, and we go through this process of allowing him to be the potter and allowing him to be the purifier, and we break. I've broken. I broke into a million pieces. My heart just exploded wide open. And then he's able to take it, and he's able to mold us, and he's able to renew our mind. I do not struggle with anxiety the way that I have in the past. If I have a moment, if I have something that comes up and I'm feeling anxious, I am so aware of it today, and I don't run to my Xanax or to Klonopin or, all these prescriptions that I have taken in the past. And they have helped me in the past whenever I didn't have an understanding that I have today and the experience that I have today, to be able to recognize, to see, to understand, and to have different tools. And he's able to show me, like, why am I feeling anxious? It's usually because I get in the way and I want to control something. And it makes me anxious because I can't. But I want to, and it makes me anxious. And so that is a huge thing. And if I have like a depressed feeling come upon my soul, I'm like, what's going on? Like, I turn to him, and I'm like, I'd sit, and sometimes it is a heaviness. Sometimes we just are going to feel that, because we, especially as empathic people who love other people, because that is a gift of the Spirit that he gives us, is that empathy. Sometimes we mourn with those that mourn, and it brings a heaviness upon our souls, but we recognize and we understand it, and we can allow it without trying to fight it, without trying to take a pill to make it go away. It's like, okay, this is where I am right now, and I can allow it and feel it and cry and let whatever needs to happen, because he is the one that is sitting there with us and showing us these things. He transforms by the renewing of our mind. I love that. So, like, how can we be children of light? What can we do in our lives to be those children of light? Well, I mean, we have to surrender. We have to allow him to transform us, to to be those children of light. And so then what? Well, he tells us, I mean, it is all in the scriptures. In Romans, I continue to read in chapter 12, and it says, cleave to that which is good. Cleave, like, don't just hold on, but cleave to that which is good. Cleave to good things that you're taking into your mind. The internet, we are bombarded with so many voices. There's so much to listen to. There just is. And I'm so grateful for anybody that listens to me. And I'm just very grateful because I want to share good. I want to be a voice of good in the world, because there's so much out there that's just not, and that is just very distracting. And you can get on TikTok and you can spend hours just like looking at stuff that is so just, it's funny. I mean, I've gotten caught myself. I think we all do. On Facebook and on Instagram and just on so many things, we can just be scrolling through, kind of wasting time, just laughing, and just people doing silly things and doing dances. And it's like, what is that doing for my spirit? Is it feeding my spirit? I mean, if we give ourselves 5 minutes to enjoy, like if we enjoy that and it lifts us, and we give ourselves a time limit, 5 minutes to enjoy watching dogs and cats, or, watch people do silly dances because it brings joy into us. Like, that's a good thing. That's good. But when we lose our time, just losing an hour, 2 hours, looking at all these things, like, then we're in this state of, is it really good for our soul? And only we know that for ourselves. I have no judgment about it at all. Only we know. So cleave to that which is good. And sometimes we may need to go through the things that we watch and the things that we're listening to, and really like think about it. Ask for discernment to know, is this good? Is this feeding me? I've had to stop following some things that I was like, I just don't know that that's good for me now with where I am. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, in honor preferring one another, just loving one another. Fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. And serving the Lord, like I love, there's a verse that talks about when ye are in the service of your fellow man, you're in the service of God. And so doing laundry for our families, we're serving God. Cooking a meal for our families, we're serving God. Sometimes it feels like, especially in these mundane, routine things that we have to do in this life, paying our bills, just going to work, just these things that it just feels like is so much of this world, but it's necessary. And I think that we can do anything in this life with a mind of, we're serving God. And whenever we bring that into our mind and into our heart, then it's like, I enjoy doing laundry. I never thought I would say that years ago. But I love doing the things that I do in my life today, because I know that I'm in service. And everything I do is for him, for my family, for my husband, for my children, and whenever we can look at it that way, it takes away all of the resentment and all of the aggravation and like, oh, I have to do this, it just, it changes something within our mind. He renews our mind and he transforms it to be able to see in a different way. Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation. I experience a lot of tribulation in my life, and I think that most people do. I have heard, I have had people in my life who, they'll share their tribulation with me, and it's like we can't judge one another's tribulation, because what is hard for one person may be like, oh, that is not hard. Step into my shoes and you're going to realize what is hard. But we can't judge another person's tribulations, because they're all very significant in each of our lives. I have had a lot of tribulation, a lot of addictions, a lot of mental illness, a lot of just things that people go through in life that break people. And I've been broken. I've been broken many times. But have been patient in our tribulation. There's been many times where I've been very impatient in my tribulations, and I've been very, I've gotten into my own addictions with drinking. I mean, there was a time in my life where I would, couldn't wait until 11 o'clock in the afternoon, before noon, to be able to start drinking, because I didn't want to drink right whenever I woke up, because I didn't want to be an alcoholic. But I'd wait until like 11, and I'm like, okay, it's time. I can make me a drink to get me through the day, and it's like, I've been there, I've done that, I've experienced that. I've experienced strongholds and addictions in my life that, I was not patient in those tribulations. I was numbing out, and I was coping in ways that was just part of behaviors and habits and ways of being that I was just stuck in. And I'm so grateful that today, he gives us patience. He is patience. And as we sit with him, we're able to take that upon ourselves. And we're able to have those fruits of the Spirit, which is patience. We're able to have patience in our tribulations. I've got some tribulations in my life right now, but I'm like, I love that God gives me patience, and that I'm able to have grace for other people and where they are in their lives, that I don't have to control and have anxiety and make everything how I think it should be. And so he does that for us. And that is another thing, being a child of light, that we can have patience in our tribulation, continuing instant in prayer. Like, I wake up in prayer and in gratitude and thanksgiving and breathing in the Spirit, and I sit in prayer and I go about my day, and I'm constantly, I'm in constant prayer. I'm in constant gratitude. And that is a gift of the Spirit, just having an open heart and being able to be in prayer. Bless them which persecute you, bless and curse not. I mean, how hard is that? To be able to bless those that persecute you, because you can come to a place where you can recognize that them persecuting you has nothing to do with you. It has to do with their pain and their hurt and their anger and their traumas and their hard hearts and where they are in their life, that they're not at peace within themselves, that they're not full of the spirit of peace. And so instead of turning back and cursing them for cursing you, we can bless them. We can pray for those who are that way towards us, because we can have an understanding of where it's coming from. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. There's nothing better than having someone who comes to you just in rejoicing, and it's it's contagious. It just makes you want to rejoice, and it just feels good. And then to weep with those that weep. I shared a video recently about mourning with those that mourn, and I was in the middle of mourning and crying, and I felt to record it, and I'm like, but I'm in the middle of this. Like, it's weird to press record when you're in a very vulnerable place of truly mourning. But it was just to, and I don't even remember everything that I said, but it's just to be able to mourn with those that mourn, and to feel that, and to have empathy. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. And I love that it gives that. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Because they recognize that we have a lot of stuff within us. I've been in a process for years of allowing God to cleanse me and purify me. And do we ever arrive? I don't know that we do in this life, because I'm 51. The blower, the lawn man is like blowing my concrete at the moment. I'm gonna have to let him pass. I don't know if you can hear me. Hopefully it doesn't come out too loud. But I love that it recognizes that as much as possible, as much as lieth within you, live peaceably. And as we recognize that we're not living peaceably, like, we can turn to God, we can turn to Christ and be like, please help me bring the peace back into me. I have to do that. Because I get triggered, and we are works in progress. We're not perfect. We're striving for that. We want to be that, but only Jesus Christ was perfect, and he has shown us the way, and we just have to sit with him. We have to receive from him. If thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. And so that's that same thing, whenever our enemies, and I don't even have enemies. But we can have enemies. People do. In our lives, people hurt us. I've just come to a place where I'm just able to recognize, other people can feel like they're our enemy. But we don't have to look at them as our enemy. They may feel like they're our enemy because of things that's within them, but we can bless people, we can feed people, we can give people water, and we can be that child of light. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. We can overcome with good. And as we're bringing goodness into our lives, and we're listening to good things, and we're filling our minds, our bodies, our spirits with good things, even with our food. And like, I've learned that me eating healthy for my body is a service to God. Like, I'm serving this body that I've been given, this temple, this church. And as I put good stuff into my body, whenever I'm sitting there preparing my food, I'm serving God, because I'm taking care of his temple. And we can do all these things. We can overcome evil with good. For you were sometimes in darkness. We're all in darkness sometimes. But now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth. I love it. I love that. I love the light. I love growing towards the light. I love that I am facing the light. I want to bloom, and I want to flower in the light, and just have his light in my life. And I'm so grateful for the journey, and I love it. So thank you. Thank you for being here with me today. And I hope y'all have a great day. And until next time.